Hey, what's going on, everyone? And welcome, everyone. For those who may not know, I am Pastor Clarence E. Stores Jr., proud pastor of Mars Hill. And I'm thankful to God that you are joining us on this beautiful Wednesday, no matter what it looks like. Psalm 46, verse 1 is one of my favorite verses. It says that God is in control. Or it references that God is in control and He is an ever-present help in the time of trouble. And certainly we are in for a treat today, and I pray that you are excited as I am. So if this is your first time tuning in, do me a favor and send a shout out. Make sure you say hello to everyone in the comment section. Make sure that you have the opportunity to speak to someone. You could have picked any church's live stream or any stream for that matter of fact, but the fact that you chose ours, I personally want to thank you for that. Now, don't be bashful. Make sure that you shout out someone in the comment section. And if you know anyone that struggling with a decision, a major decision, a minor decision, then you need to tell them to get on today's stream. Tell them don't miss today's stream. And our vision as a church, we are here for a specific reason, and that is to help people who are far away from God find their way back to God by encouraging them to take the next small step. You're going to hear that a lot. The next small step. Too often we are inundated with a myriad of steps, a plethora of steps to take, and that causes paralysis through analysis. And so we want to encourage you to take that next small step, whether it's in person or digitally on your phone or your tablet, your computer, your smart TV, whatever it is. We want to encourage you to take that next great step. And make sure you follow us on all of our social media channels, our outlets. And I guarantee you, you will not regret it. We're on YouTube right now. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. So please consider sharing this with your family and friends. And thanks again for joining us. And I personally appreciate each and every one of you. We are back in session for our MasterClass. Our life groups kicked off this past Monday. And all over around Mars Hill, it's all about making wise decisions. All about making wise decisions. And I told you, you are in for a wonderful and exciting time. And for those who may not know what I'm talking about, I'm in a masterclass series. It's all about the next right thing. And it's a play off of Spike Lee's classic Do the Right Thing. How many of you all saw that movie? Let me know in the comments section. Brother would greatly appreciate it. But we're not calling it Do the Right Thing. We're calling it Do the Wise Thing. And today is all about preparation. Drop that in the comments section, looking at the most overlooked aspect of decision making. We're going to dive into that momentarily. The most overlooked aspect of decision making in this master class. Now, if you have not picked up your workbook, man, you are going to need it. And I want you to make sure that you catch it, that you grab it. And we made it available for each and every one of you. So you can go right now. I'm going to drop a link in the comments section. So it's coming momentarily. There it is. It should be in the comments section. And you get to name your price. Now, I can't let y'all, I can't let you all go beyond $1, man. And some great prayer work and effort went into creating this. So all you have to do is click the link in the comment section right now. And it'll be made available also for those who are watching on YouTube in the description of the video. And it's a companion workbook to go along with this masterclass. Do you absolutely need it? No, you don't. But would I like for you to have it, and would it make this decision-making process a little bit more functional? Oh, absolutely. So click that link, go ahead and get your workbook. Now, for those of you who are watching on YouTube right now, your smart TV, I got something for you. I got something for you. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, you can go to the description. You'll be able to get that link as well. All right, we've gotten all of that out of the way. And I tell you, the workbook is actually pretty phenomenal, you all. I think that you're going to get a lot of mileage out of it. And I'll reference it throughout today's masterclass. And it's printable. And in addition to it being printable, now don't go sending it to everyone, you all. Make sure that they sow a little seed and make sure that they do it the right way. We don't want to bootleg it because I want you to be blessed, and you will be blessed indeed. Now, with that stated, man, I am thrilled to teach like this because it's a break from Sunday. And if you didn't hear Sunday's message, then I want you to go back on our YouTube channel. The message only has been uploaded to YouTube. It's ready, and you can jump on and check that out right now. And it'll prepare you, because Sunday in our masterclass series, they all go together, all right? Now, with that stated, here's what I want you to do for me as we prepare to dive in. We're going to hit it hard. We're going to hit it heavy, because I want you to not miss the most important aspect when it comes to decision making. I know we have the big decisions, but then we also have the medium-sized decisions, and we also have the small decisions. All of these decisions are coming at us 1,000 miles an hour. And if you were with me Sunday, you learned that we make upwards of 35,000 decisions unconsciously each and every day. Now, if you couple that with the big decisions that we're left to make, then you can understand why we're either overwhelmed, or we can't sleep at night, we're restless, or we find ourselves waking up in the middle of the night, all because of this one aspect: decision overload, decision fatigue. And then when the large decisions make their way into our lives, we have no capacity, we have no margin, we have no space to be able to make those decisions, and then we're left by the wayside. So we want to dig into that today. So if you have your workbook, I want you to go ahead and get that. I want you to also go ahead and make sure that you are in a distraction-free place. I don't want you to be distracted, because I don't want you to miss anything about what I'm sharing. Now, my sister has already gave you all a warning. She says, nerd alert warning, warning. Pastor has on his glasses. Yep. Anytime you see me with my eyeglasses on, I'm in my nerd mode. I'm in my studious mode. And so when that happens, man, it's like drinking water from a fire hydrant, y'all. And I guarantee you, you won't miss a beat. So I want you to get comfortable. I want you to get yourselves something to write with, something to write on. If you don't have your workbook, go ahead and get that. I did mention the message that I started on this past Sunday in this series. I'm gonna go ahead and drop that in the comments section for you all as well. You can go back and check that out later. And then also, if you didn't register for this class, I want you to register, because I give out freebies. I give you follow-up information to make the journey even more special. So if you didn't get a chance to register, I dropped that link in the comment section already. Those of you who on YouTube, don't worry, don't fret. We'll be able to make sure that you get the information once we place it in the video description, all right? Now, before we dive in, we're gonna have a time where we're gonna hit it hard for about 20-25 minutes. And then, of course, if there are any questions that you may have, here's what I want you to do. Digital Pastor, you can help me out on this. If you have any questions, I want you to type Q with the colon sign and then type your question. I'm gonna show you exactly how to do it in the chat. You type Q and then you ask your question. Let me put that in there for you. That's how it looks. If you see that in the comments section, you type Q, then ask your question. And then that way I can search for it and know and be able to answer and respond. All right? Are y'all ready? Well, let me do this before we officially dive in. I got to give some shout outs to the faithful who came out, those who plan to be a part of where we are today. So let me go ahead and give my good evening shout outs. Starting at the top, Lynn Rose, Irene, good evening to each and every one of you. Kim, Denise, good evening to you. All of those who are joining us on Facebook, good evening to you. Those who are joining us via YouTube or Twitter, good evening to you. And if you hadn't already, make sure that you get a chance and the opportunity to speak to someone in the comments section. All right, so let me know in the comments section. Let me know, are you ready? Don't fool me now, because we're about to dive in and take a look at the most overlooked aspect when it comes to decision making. All right. And with that stated, let me go ahead and situate myself and make sure that you are on, make sure that you are settled, make sure that you've eliminated any and all distractions as we walk through this masterclass series together. And this by far is the most important, how we start, how we kick things off. And the reason this is the most important aspect of them all is because if we don't start right and we don't do the things that we know to do, then we'll miss a major moment. We'll miss a major move from God. So I want you to eliminate anything that gets in the way of you hearing from God. And here's why. Digital pastors, you can help me out. Let me know in the comments section if you all are ready. Life is like a whirlwind. Life is like a whirlwind. And the reason I liken life to being like a whirlwind is because the decisions that we are challenged to make, they can become overwhelming, can become stifling. These decisions can become crippling because it comes at us 1,000 miles an hour. Let me illustrate. I'm learning that the longer you're married, the longer you're in a relationship, oftentimes you begin to like the things that the significant other, the spouse, or the significant other likes. And so some of the television shows that I'm watching are some of the shows that my wife likes. And it's starting to dawn on me the reason why she likes certain shows. She's watching this show, called New Amsterdam. It's about doctors and the challenges that they face. But in addition to the challenges that they face relationally, socially, medically, it's really a good story. And I just got into it. She's kind of further along ahead of me. And then before that, the cooking shows like Chopped, things of that nature. So I'm watching these shows that she likes, and I kind of see why she likes them. And I want you to stay with me on this, because her liking these shows specifically, they have one theme in common. And when you get it, then I want you to go ahead and drop it in the comments section. And what they have in common, one is a show that centers around doctors. And before doctors go to surgery, they don't just wake up and decide to have surgery. No, they have a meeting to talk about the surgery. And then after the meeting, then they meet with the respective people who will be assisting in the surgery, the anesthesiologists, the nurses, the social workers, everyone who plays a role, everyone who plays a hand in making that surgery happen. They're part of the meeting. So they have this meeting, they talk about the surgery, they talk about what's going on, they talk about what they're going to do, how they plan to do it, and then there's a person who's responsible for making sure all of the surgical instruments are ready. And then there's another person who makes sure that all of the gauze and the bandages are ready. And then there's another person who makes sure that all of the charts that are relevant is there and within hand's reach, and they're ready. They don't just wake up and walk into an operating room and decide that now's the time to have surgery. It doesn't work like that. Now let's switch over to the next show. Chopped. Y'all have seen that before. Some of you have, some of you may not. But these are up-and-coming chefs who are trying to get noticed. And so they come before master chefs to see if they got it. But when I watch this show, they are given a certain amount of ingredients. And then they're told to prepare certain meals from the ingredients at hand. And so they have to take mixing bowls and ingredients and chop it up and mix it up and create whatever the master chef decides that needs to be made before they can make the meal. Now, what do they have in common? They don't just walk into the kitchen, automatically start cooking, and then out comes the meal. No, there's some cutting that needs to be done. There's some seasonings that need to go into those certain meals. There are several things that need to happen, the right portions, the right mixtures. All of this needs to happen before that meal's prepared. So I'm surprised you all haven't figured it out in the comments section what they have in common, you all, because when you look at doctors and when you look at chefs and when you look at, let's take it another step further, gardeners. Anyone who has a beautiful garden knows that it doesn't start out that way. No, you just don't get the seeds and you put the seeds inside of the soil and then step back and a few months later you come in and everything's fine, everything is wonderful. No, y'all haven't figured it out yet. What do they all have in common? And this is why I believe the Mrs. is drawn to things as such. Miss Adela, you hit it on the head. That's right, preparation. They have recipes. They have a format. They have an agenda. They have a game plan before the game begins. Now, I want you to think about something. Whenever you go to a professional basketball game, baseball game, football game, try going a little earlier. Because players who play professional sports or collegiate sports or even high school sports at a higher level, the game may be at 3 o'clock, but the players are usually there 4 to 6 hours before the game to prepare. Preparation. And because the athlete needs to stretch, they need to tend to any injuries that they may have. They need to go over the opponent's game plan to see how the opponent plans to stop them and shut them down. They have to meet with the various coaches to make sure that everybody's on the same page. So when the team takes the field, they're ready. And that they're at their optimum level in order to have maximum success. So I'm thinking. We're bombarded with 35,000 unconscious decisions that we make on a daily basis. And then you layer on top of that the big decisions that we must make, where life and death depends on it, where all of the things that could slow us down depends on it. But yet, very few of us, like doctors, like top chefs, like master gardeners, like athletes, we don't put in any prep work. We don't take the necessary time to prepare this, our minds, this, our souls, and this, our bodies, to make the decisions that can either propel us forward, keep us stagnant, or set us back. So we make random decisions. We make rushed decisions, all because we did not take the time in order to prepare properly so that we can make wise decisions in a complex world. Man, y'all ready for this? Because I'm telling you, the blessing is on the way. Now check this out. Since life is a whirlwind, making sound decisions can be overwhelming. And in addition to it being overwhelming, we can't just walk in and look at it and list the pros and the cons and say, this is it. You know why? Because all of us have confirmation biases. In our minds, there's something that we want to do. So instead of making a wise decision, we search for information to validate what we really want to do in our hearts. Y'all already know that usually leads us into the wrong direction. Preparation. So today, I want to help you to prepare the soil. Now I have 24 questions that's in the workbook, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. But I don't want you getting out there popping a spiritual hamstring because you didn't stretch. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I don't want you to make a bland meal because you didn't measure right. You didn't spice it up right. I don't want you, if you're in the medical field, going into a surgery and you haven't met with the team. And if these professionals can take time to prepare, then tonight is all about helping you to prepare to wrestle with the questions. We're going to hit them in a moment. But I want to spend about a good 10 minutes and help you prepare your soil so that when you get to the question, and the first question, of course, is what decision do you need to make? Most of us are not even ready for that because everything is going through our minds. We got so much happening. We don't even really know what it is that we need to make a decision about. Y'all all right? Come on, let me know in the comments section. Y'all kind of quiet on me tonight. All right, so let's prepare the soil. That's what we want to do. Let's prepare the soil so when we wrestle with the questions, then we're already ready. We're stretched. Our meal is ready. We done prepped for it, right? All we got to do is place that dish in the oven, and voila, something beautiful comes out. All right, so before we begin to make any decisions, especially during times that we're living in this complex world, you all, check this right. Check this out. Here's what I want you to do. First of all, we have to mute the noise. Mute the noise. Muting the noise is all about cultivating an inner calm. It's all about shutting out competing distractions. Because when you're faced with making a wise decision in a complex world, it's crucial to find your inner calm and your sense of composure. And this involves soothing your mind, concentrating on the matter at hand, so that you're not bombarded with competing distractions. You're not bombarded with senseless noise. I have these headphones. They're right here in my pocket. They're called Apple AirPods. And these AirPods are quite amazing. And what makes these AirPods quite amazing, you all, man, it's crazy because, see, when you open this up and you pull out one of these little earbuds, y'all can see that, right? Little small earbuds, no cords attached, nothing. But something magical happens inside of these earbuds that just blows my mind. There's a little button once you place them in your ear that you push, and once you push that button, then it does something called noise cancellation. It blocks out all of the outside noise so that you can only hear what you want to hear, whether it's music, whether it's a sermon, whether it's a podcast, and you find yourself in a favorable position because you have no competing distraction. Well, preparing the soil to make wise decisions in a complex world, you got to mute the noise. Where do you go that becomes your de facto noise cancellation? Because if you're always in the same environment and the noise is going forward, then you can calm it in order to be able to hear clearly, because our hearing is what's most important during this process. So we mute the noise. Y'all all right? Man, y'all kind of quiet in the comments section, but that's all right. And then after you mute the noise, remember, we're preparing the soil. And then the second step that we take in order to ensure that we're preparing the soil, and that is to focus on the present moment. We mute the noise, and then we focus on the present moment. Y'all remember this past Sunday, I told 3 stories about Jesus performing miracles. He heals the 10 lepers. And then after healing the 10 lepers, he raises Jairus' daughter from the grave, from a deathbed. And then after raising Jairus' daughter, healing the lepers, and then he heals the paralyzed man when they came through the roof. 3 miracles. And Jesus says to them, just do the very next step. Take the very next step. He told the paralyzed man, pick up your mat and walk. He told Jairus and his wife, go fix your child something to eat. Told the lepers, go show yourselves to the priest. Oftentimes, and here's what I'm trying to get to, oftentimes we get so caught up in the manifestation of what we want to happen, and we miss the moment right now. So instead of obsessing, here's what I mean by that. Instead of obsessing over the ultimate destination, we should focus on each step of the journey. That's why you need spiritual noise cancellation, so you'll be able to focus on the next step in the journey. And here's what it does. And this is why this is so crucial, y'all. This is why this is so crucial when you do this. It releases us from the pressure of the outcome. We're so caught up in the outcome and the pressure of the outcome and wanting to control everything regarding the outcome that we miss living in the moment. So we mute the noise and then we focus on the present moment. Y'all all right? We're preparing the soil. We're preparing the soil. Because if your environment is noisy, and I'm not talking about physical noise, I'm talking about anything that gets in the way of blocking you from hearing what you need to do. All right? Preparing the soil. This is likened to preparing the soil. This is likened to the gardener preparing the soil, the athlete that stretches, the master chef who makes sure that she has all of the ingredients necessary to prepare a good meal, and the doctor who has to perform a surgery. They're preparing. So here's the third step, preparing the soil. Third step. Once you mute the noise, focus on the task at hand. Third step is removing distractions to gain clarity. Removing distractions help us gain clarity. Things are not clear when you're distracted. So by removing the distractions, we get insight. Removing the distractions, we become focused. Removing the distractions, we become aware. And once we have this awareness, which leads to clarity, it positions us to know, what do I really need to decide on? What is it that's really important in this matter? What is it that is really in the forefront that needs my attention? And that way we prepare the soil. All right, we're almost there. We're going to dive right into this workbook. We're almost there. We're preparing the soil. The fourth step, remember, we're preparing the soil. Before we even get to making that decision, by muting the noise, focusing on the task at hand, and then accepting and making sure that we are removing distractions, we're gaining clarity. Here's the fourth step. Don't want you to miss this. Thank you, Lynn, for sharing that. Here's the fourth step. Don't want you to miss this because it's going to be real good. And a lot of us miss this. And that is acknowledging and accepting your present circumstances. when making decisions. That's why I'm kind of leery of just go after it with all your heart. What about your present circumstances? Well, I'm just going to step out on faith. Wait a minute. What about your present circumstances? Because someone may be in a stage of life where they can risk it all, and then some are in a stage where I may be, where you could make one bad decision that could ruin you for the rest of your life. See, some of us, we're on the back nine of our lives. Some of us, we are at a place and a position where we can't afford to rebound in 10 and 15 years. No, you've got to acknowledge your present circumstances, your present condition, embrace your truth, and allow it to steer you in the decision-making process. I can't make decisions without factoring in my family, factoring in Mars Hill, factoring in my health, factoring in my age. No, you acknowledge and you accept your present circumstances before you make that decision. Man, this is good, you all. I'm helping you prepare that soil like an athlete, helping you stretch before you get out there and hurt someone, or perhaps maybe even hurt yourself. All right? Here's the fifth step. All right? Preparing the soil. I'm going to give you some homework, and then we're going to get out of here. All right? Y'all ready for this? Come on, let me know in the comments section, man. I pray that y'all are following along with this. All right? Here's the fifth and final step. Remember, these are soil preparing steps. Then we're going to give a quick review. Then we're going to jump into the workbook, talk a little bit about your homework. All right? Help me review it. Y'all. Help me to review it. First step we take, come on, don't be afraid. We posted it before. We got to mute the noise, all right? That's the first step. For those of you who just jumping on, remember we're preparing our soil prior to making the decision. Now, in addition to muting the noise, step 2, we got to focus on the present moment. What's the next step? Go back and check out Sunday's message to get the full context of that. Right here, right now. What's the next step that I need to take? And then we remove the distractions so that can help us gain clarity. And then you got to acknowledge your present circumstance. Did good, Lynn. Taking notes. My God. You was my lower third today. Praise God. Check this out. Now, some of this I give you during these master classes in the workbook. Some of it is not. This is one of those areas and nuggets that are not. And here's the final step. Remember, we're preparing the soil. Boy, y'all going to be dangerous. All right, y'all are going to be dangerous. This is so key. So I want you to lean in, and then I'm going to give you your homework assignment, and then we're done. All right, you ready? I want you to evaluate, look critically, evaluate your desires and your motivations. Why are you attempting to do what you're attempting to do? Evaluate your desires and your motivations. When you face a decision, it's essential to scrutinize and evaluate your desires and your motivations. And this causes for one to reflect. And in the midst of reflecting, we can identify the areas that need adjustment, the reasons behind our choices, And then that would allow us to say, okay, this is really what I need to do, or this is really what I should do. Evaluate the desires and your motivations. Now that we've prepared the soil, you get ready to make that decision. You're looking at how you've prepared your soil. Now you're ready to dive into the decisions that are at hand. Because I'd be willing to suggest that in this moment, during this time, during this season, what you really need to make a decision about, whatever pops into the mind first, that's really not the decision, because you got the noise. You have the distractions. You haven't looked at your desires and your motivations. You haven't gotten a sense of clarity. You haven't evaluated your desires and your motivations. So what you think you need to do may not be what you need to do. Where is your alone place? Where is a place that you can go where you can mute the noise, where you can eliminate the distractions, where you can put yourself in a more favorable position? Now, this workbook, you all, has 24 questions that we're going to spend the next few weeks covering. And if you jump to page 16 in the notebook, and I'll drop a link again for those who are just getting on to be able to get the notebook so that you could follow along and be on the right pathway with us. So I'm going to drop that link in about 5 seconds. There it is in the comments section. This workbook, specifically on page 16, is where we begin with the questions. So week 1, here's your homework assignment. I want you to take a look at the first 5 questions, but I want you to filter them through how you prepared the soil prior to. So in my prayer time, in my alone time, in my distraction-free time, I'm conversing with God. I'm conversing with myself, making sure that I've prepared my soil properly. And if you do the work in the prep time or during the prep time, then these 5 questions are going to become crystal clear. The first question is, what are you currently trying to decide on? Remember, don't jump into this without first preparing the soil. Don't jump into this without first making sure that you prepared the soil. And in preparing the soil, it requires reflection. It requires time. It requires each and every one of us to make sure that we're asking the right question. So, what are you currently trying to decide? And then the second question, as you work through the workbook, what's the deadline for your decision? Because if you don't put a deadline on the decision, then you'll keep kicking the can down the road. If you don't put a deadline on the decision, then it becomes eternal. And we don't want that to happen. We don't want that to be just another thing in our junk drawer. So what are you currently trying to decide on? What's the deadline for the decision? And then who will provide input on this decision? I'm going to talk about that next week. You can't listen to everyone, especially your critics. The people who give input after you prepared the soil are the ones who believe in you, the ones who want to see you make it, the ones who are rooting for you to make it. So you get their input because you would have clarified it. You know what you're trying to decide on. You have a deadline for the decision, and you've gotten input from the right people. And then what does your gut say? We call it the Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit is intelligent enough and loves you enough to speak to you during these moments. And then the final question, as I wrap it up, this is perhaps the most important, and I'm going to dive a little deeper into this question next week. You can't ask yourself this question if you have not properly prepared your soil. How would I advise a friend who's in my position? Because what that does, it allows us to step back, remove ourselves from the immediate situation so that we can gain perspective, the wide angle view, and then objectively be able to give that advice. Now, all that I shared during these 5 questions is virtually impossible if you don't prepare your soil. So you have work to do before we get together next week. Before you dive into these 5 questions, if you spend an hour, here's the deal. If you spend an hour with God, first 30 minutes, you're in a quiet place, distraction-free, muting the noise, gaining clarity. Okay, what is it that I really need to decide? I'm making a decision, I'm buying me a car. Wait a minute. Is that really the decision? Or do I decide that when I'm in a better financial position and I can put down a substantial down payment and can pay cash for it, you see what I'm saying? When you distraction-free, you're positioned to make wiser decisions. So this is the hard work. That's why we call this a MasterClass. Because I work, and then you work. And then you're only going to get out of this what you put into this. So if you don't put anything into this, then you may not get anything out of it. But if you really sit down over the course of the next week, I guarantee you that you will know unequivocally what it is that you need to do. Y'all all right? Man, boy, what a time we had together. That's right. Thank you for dropping that information on the screen because, man, I want y'all to get this. And that's your homework right there. Page 16, answering questions 1 through 5. But don't attempt to answer these questions until you've properly prepared yourself to make these decisions. And I'll conclude with this, and I'll say it once again. I don't want you making decisions fatigued, distracted, tired, that could set you back another 10 years or I don't want you to make a decision that you can't recover from. So the better you prepare to make wise decisions in a complex world, then trust me, your children's children will thank you. Now, if you have any questions regarding what was shared during this masterclass session, go ahead and drop them in the comments section, and then I'll go back and check them out and respond there. And if you have any questions and you feel that they are too personal in nature, you can shoot me an email. You can shoot me a direct message. I'll check it and respond accordingly. But in the meantime, let me know in the comments section, you all, where you helped today. Let me know in the comments section what stood out. Let me know in the comments section what's your next move. I would really love to it, because I guarantee if you stick with me the next 4 weeks, your life will be changed and you will be that much more astute in making wise choices in a complex world. So what stood out, and then what's your next move? Then finally, I can't leave without talking a little bit about giving, you all. I can't leave without talking a little bit about giving. Here at Mars Hill, we believe in a hybrid approach to ministry, where we meet in person either through our live worship or we meet in our groups. Our groups have reconvened, and it's all about decision making as well, making wise choices. And all of this we're able to do is through your generosity. So you can text your tithe, your offerings to 33777 by using the keyword MHGIVE. Or you can give through our website at marshillchicago.org/giving. Or you can mail in that gift, P.O. Box 6159 in River Forest, Illinois 60305. And we at Mars Hill believe this is great ground to sow a seed, and we pray that you consider sowing a seed today. And those of you who purchased and sowed a seed for the workbook, you notice it had in there, name your own price. And many of you did, and I'm so thankful that you did. Some gave more than what was asked, and I appreciate that because that's sowing a seed into my personal ministry, a teaching ministry. And you can do it also through Cash App at Clarence Stores, through Zelle, Clarence Stores at Gmail, through PayPal.me at Clarence Stores. Either way, whatever you invest in me, I reinvest in ministry. Matter of fact, I done picked out 3 conferences that I'm planning on attending this year to get a little warmer. And so whatever you sow allows me to get better. Everyone gets better when the leader gets better. So thank you for your gifts. Thank you for purchasing the workbook. And for those who may not know, we are continuing to meet online and in person. So you can join us Sunday, 10:30 a.m. online on all of our streaming platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, etc. And we would love to see you there. You have work to do. So get to work, get busy, and watch God work. Now may the Lord bless you and keep you. And may the Lord turn his face toward you and be gracious to you. And may the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, guide you through this tapestry of making wise decisions in a complex world. May the grace of God and the sweet communion of his Holy Spirit rest in you now and forever. God bless you. God keep you. See you this Sunday, and have a great week.